Russ Foster. What's up, Russ?
How's it going?
So if people don't remember, Russ was the 330-pound mass monster that decided he was going to finally step on stage and
Trying to become 330. Trying to become. Yeah.
trying to do 30-30. That's right.
Yeah.
And we did this is the third progress video of you getting on stage. So tell me how things are going.
Well, uh, switched to a new coach.
Really?
The previous one, just what I was doing, what he had me on, diet and everything else, it just wasn't working. I mean, I felt like crap all the time. Stairs were the sworn enemy. When you get to the point where you can just, barely like reach over, to tie your own shoes, and you're kind of like without, feeling like you just did a cardio session.
Yeah.
Probably switch things up a little bit. So I was at a different gym out here in Florida, and I ran into Sherry. And unfortunately, I can't remember her last name, but she's an Olympia competitor, bodybuilder.
All right. Sounds familiar. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And I think she took fifth this year or last year at the Olympia.
Okay.
And her husband works out there as well, and he's a heavyweight bodybuilder.
Right.
So I was just talking to him, and he hooked me up with his coach. So being an engineer, I'm kind of like, I like people that can back up what they want with data, not just like just do it just because.
Right.
Like I'm not good at just hitting the I believe button. It's like I'll do it, but
Yeah.
tell me,
We gotcha.
give me the whole reason.
Yeah.
So went with a new coach and started on a whole new protocol. And the hard part was, once you've ascertained or crested over 300 pounds, you're just once you see the scale go the other way,
It's a mental
it
fuck.
totally messes with you.
Yeah.
So I got down to like 263.
What? Really?
Yeah. Yep.
You were like
So
315 at one point, weren't you?
yep, exactly. Yep.
Wow.
Now, of course, just like with anything, 315, that's not muscle. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, you're probably holding on, 20 plus pounds of water.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay, we're gonna take you off of everything, and I'm gonna use quotes on that.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Just hit the reset button. So I think within there's a 6 week period when I switched to him that I didn't even go to the gym.
Okay. So when did you
Yeah.
switch to him? When did you switch coaches?
This was in October.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So when you first saw him, you were 315, and then he said, okay, you're coming off everything, and we're gonna start from scratch here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's like, there's no point in trying to take you from 315 to 330 if you're close to dying. He's like, what's the point? So,
right.
And then, once we, kind of established that baseline, cleaned the whole system out, and just started fresh. Yeah, I'm like, as of today, like I'm back up to 295.
Great. Now that's good to hear. So what did he actually when you started with him after you cleaned out? And you could talk. I mean, it's up to you if you want to talk about it. What was it?
Yeah.
What was it? The super subs that he had changed? What was the diet that he had changed? What was the workout regimen that he had changed?
Everything. He's from the diet, I was just taking a lot of just kind of pointless calories.
Okay, yeah.
So with the previous coach, and here's the thing, it's not that I want to bag on my previous coach. I mean, everybody has their own ideas to how to do this. Some people just do it better than and that goes true just for even sometimes personalities. Like I've switched coaches just basis because I'm just like, you're just kind of a fucking douche, so we don't mesh.
Yeah.
If I can't stand you as a human being, I'm probably not going to listen to you.
Yeah, right.
Paying you monthly, understanding completely that you don't hire a coach to be your friend.
Right.
You want honest feedback, but there has to be kind of almost like a decorum of respect, if that makes any sense. But the nice thing is with this new coach, I have it. So he brought my calories back to, I was just kind of coasting on like 5,000, and now we're back up to like 6,500.
Okay.
Yeah, around there. And we bump it up to like 7,000 on leg days. We do carb cycling. As far as like the protocol, obviously, like, the test baseline is still there.
Okay.
But the stuff that I was on beforehand, I mean, don't get me wrong, just like everybody else that's done Tren is the greatest stuff in the world
Yeah. Right.
when it's appropriate to use.
Right.
And I found out it worked for me initially when I was bulking, but then it kind of came to a point where it's like, okay, it's like a diminishing returns.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like, and more trend is not the answer. You just
No,
want to take
definitely
just,
not. Yeah.
yeah, definitely not. So, yeah, it's just like now we're just on, just test, EQ, trust alone, and growth hormone, and that kind of stuff. I mean, it's not an insane amounts or anything like that.
Back to the basics.
Back to the absolute basics. And
Back
the
to
funny
the
thing is,
basics.
yeah, and now it's like I'm stronger than I've ever been, even when I was on trend.
Yeah.
So the calories are less. The stack is back to being basic. I can actually speak without having to, sound like I ran a
Yeah.
mile
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
half.
Yeah.
And no trend cough. I don't get night sweats. It's like this is great.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
I mean,
nice.
you look big as hell, so you definitely
Oh,
look
well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah,
295. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Now, when you
But yeah,
came off everything, you came off cold turkey, or he had you come on some with PCT, or
yeah, we ran a little bit of PCT for a while.
okay,
Mainly it was just with Trent. He was like, just stop it. He's like, and then we'll just kind of take your test amounts kind of down accordingly, enough so that we've gone from blast to coast. But yeah, once that came down, and then especially once the calories are just kind of like back to, I felt like a bikini competitor.
oh
It
yeah,
was, I mean, I just wasn't eating hardly anything. And he's like, this is gonna suck. He's like, you're not gonna want to go to the gym. And I was like, bingo, because I didn't. I think in 6 weeks I went like maybe twice. Yeah. And then yeah, finally it's like once everything clicked in, and everything started to ramp up slowly, mindset started to change. I was like, okay, once you start seeing the results, then it's like a self-licking ice cream cone. I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. He's Johnny on the spot when I have any questions.
right,
He's just awesome.
good. Now, how
Yeah.
did you feel when you came off? How long were you off everything?
I was off everything for probably 8 weeks.
How'd you feel when you were off
Terrible.
everything?
So I felt great and awful at the same time. Because like I said, it's like once you see the scale start going down,
Yeah,
it fucks with you mentally going, oh my God, my strength, my gains, everything. I'm tiny as hell. I'm back to being, like
yeah,
135.
right.
But that's not the case.
Mhm.
It's the bad thing is it's like the scant times that I did go to the gym, and even people were kind of like, man, like you dieting, or
That's the
what's
worst
going
thing.
on
Yeah,
here?
it's the
And I was
you
just
know,
like, oh, God damn it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
The worst
but
thing you
yeah,
could tell a bodybuilder is, did you lose weight? That's the worst thing. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So I was like, just push through it. And then once we started on cycle and everything, and it's not like you start up and it's just like, oh my God, instant results. You got to wait for everything to kind of
yeah.
just take its time to gradually ramp up. And then it's for me, I'm not great about keeping a journal, if you will, like
Mhm.
this many sets of this is what I did and everything. But he made me, and even like during my weekly check-ins or whatever, it's like he wanted snapshots of the book
Mm,
just to make sure that one, I was doing it, and two, it's kind of like, oh, okay, dude, living proof that yes, you can see your sets are going up, everything is improving. He's like, so
right.
just switch on.
Okay.
Yeah. So he definitely knows what he's doing, at least with me. So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's key. Yeah. And I interviewed Sergio Oliva Jr. and we talked about, because now he's training with
yeah,
Joe
yeah.
Lyons. And we talked about how there are trainers that just train like the way they used to train, and they think
Yeah.
that works for everybody. And sometimes
Right, right.
and it doesn't. Everybody's a little
Yeah,
different. And what was
yeah.
funny is one of the trainers that he mentioned was Tom Platz. And he said
Oh
Tom
my
Platz
God.
had trained him, and he's like, I couldn't do what he wanted me to do.
Yeah,
It was more painful, and so on and so forth. And
sure.
Chris Cormier was another one
Mhm.
that just wanted
Yeah.
him to do what he did. And you know it probably works for most people, but I think once you get to a guy to that level, you kind of
Mhm.
have to start splitting hairs as to what he needs and what he doesn't, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
you know but
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
yeah. What about in the gym? What's he got you doing differently in the gym?
Really, it's just kind of getting back to the basics. I have 2 leg days, 2 back days, and the rest are just, kind of auxiliary. Not saying that chest is auxiliary, but
Okay.
it's the focus is yeah, back all around and getting still, getting the wheels to match the upper.
Right.
So
Get into those 2 leg because this is, again, I'm not a trainer, but I just
mm,
know what works for me. And I was always an advocate of not training a body part more than once a week, especially if you're killing it. But I do
mhm.
see plenty of guys that need to improve and they have to train them, twice a week. So are you killing it both days, or is it more like a hamstring day, quad day, hamstrings and glutes, quads, that kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean,
Ah, okay.
it's not it's I think he has on me excuse me, he has me on like a 10-day split.
Ah,
So,
okay.
with rest days programmed into it. So generally it's like upper, lower, off, upper, lower, off.
I got you.
Um, More of a like mesomorph style, if you will, kind of training. So I'm doing like, 3 heavy sets between 8 and 12, and then a back off set, kind of take 25% off of that and 12 to 15. So it's nothing truly cosmic, but the legs, I've seen a lot of improvement. And it's
Great.
not like, with previous coaches, they're like, okay, we want you to do 400 lunges. I'm like, in the month of September or in one day,
Right.
because I was like, that's an insane amount, and he wants it at the end of a workout after doing 200 hack squats. Now it's the same principle. So it's just, okay, let's just do 8 to 12.
Right.
So we're slowly cracking the code, which is great. But yeah, it's like every workout, it's like I can't mail it in, especially with legs. But the frequency, at least with it, is, and the calories and everything else, it's enough that it's not killing me.
Right.
Like
Right.
some days, like when you're done with the gym, all you want to do is just get on the couch and do nothing.
Right.
You're
Right.
like, there's no way I'm going to the gym tomorrow. Well, then tomorrow rolls around. You're like, hell yeah, let's go to the gym.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so basically, it's like that.
So with leg days, you have basically a hamstring, glute day, and then you have another one where it's quads.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about back? How do you break back up into twice a week?
Back in the twice a week. So he has there's a back width day and a back thickness day.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
so yeah, it's a lot of pullovers, pull downs, and the thing is, it's like he incorporates a lot of rows with it as well for both days.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like you can't be too thick or too wide, I guess. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
that's the truth. We pass. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Do you feel a difference in your soreness? Because I remember
yes,
if I trained
yeah,
a certain way and then I went and trained another way, I would be sore. The muscle would be sore, but it would be different.
yes. The nice thing is with this, well, especially being like on growth hormone and all that. I mean, that's just awesome. Like I did legs yesterday, killed it, just kind of laid on the couch for a couple of hours. I mean, I felt like I couldn't move. I could have happily slept there last night.
Right. Right. Right.
But today I feel like I could go back and do legs again.
Yeah. No, grow. I was on I was on somebody else's podcast, and they actually asked
Mhm.
me what was the best benefit of growth, and I said, oh, the healing the muscle, definitely, clearly,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that goes without saying, at 100%.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so now, what is your goal as far as getting on stage? Did that change
So
too from trainer to trainer?
no, well, no. So the trainer is kind of like, all right, dude, you're clearly a super heavy. He's like, um, we'll put as much weight on you as we need to. There's no
Mhm.
magic number. He's like, we're doing actually with this coach, he wants me to do a lot more cardio than I'm used to. Haven't been haven't been great about it because let's think about it. It's like, yeah, like after you've been, doing a leg day for, and you're there for like 2 hours or whatever, the last thing you want to do is walk for 45 minutes.
Right.
Now that's entirely on me. And everyone's going to say like, stop being a bitch and just go ahead and do it. And yeah, I get it. Um, but he wants to, the goal is obviously not, I would think with any coach, is to stay as lean as possible. Therefore, like when you start your cut, there's
Right.
less of you to cut, but just makes perfect sense. So therefore,
Absolutely.
it with him, it's less about we have to make it to 320 or 330. It's not that. He's like, if we can, touch, if you happen to get to 305 or 310, great. If we don't, okay, whatever. It's like,
Right.
it's putting on the right kind of mass, taking off the right kind of fat, if that makes any sense, at the right time. He's like, so basically we're going to try to do a show later this year, but until we get, really the legs to match everything else, there's kind of no point.
Right. Right. I see what you're saying.
So,
Okay.
but it's like whatever that amount of weight comes out to be before we start the cut is
Okay.
what it is. But this is another reason why it's like you have to trust your coach.
Mm-hmm.
So with him, just because I know that he can back up the data, he has the pedigree, he has the degree
Right.
to talk about everything and back up and explain the why behind everything. With him, I find it a lot easier to hit the I believe button and go like, okay, if we're at 305, cool. And he says it's time to cut, then it's time to cut.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So.
Any change in your actual supplements? Protein powders, creatine, glutamine, fiber, anything specific that he changed?
So we have like an insane pre-workout stack that we go on where we're adding a lot of EAAs,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stuff from condemned labs, adding a lot more Himalayan salt. I mean, this is for a sophomore and IFBB person like me, this is probably common knowledge to a lot of other people, but it works.
Right.
So, right. But aside from that, I mean, it's a lot more, vitamin C, garlic, turmeric, just the daily maintenance stuff that I wasn't doing at all with the previous coach.
Right. Obviously, this one seems a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. And the nice thing is, and this is supposed to be an enjoyable sport too. And if your quality of life can improve and you're getting stronger and you look better, then
yeah, it's the best of both worlds. But this trainer definitely seems like he's got his finger on the pulse.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That and was he a bodybuilder himself?
Oh, he is. Yeah.
He's an IFBB pro. You don't have to tell me who he is. I don't care.
No. I will. So it's Elliott Dermond.
Okay. And is he competitive today or is retired?
Yeah, he's I think, well, the funny thing is he was going to do a show, if I remember right, a year, I want to say like a year or 2 years ago, something like that. And I mean, he if you look at him, he's basically shooing to go pro, but I think he came down with COVID, so it took him out of the show. And he's gearing up for the show and basically where he's going to take his pro card.
But
that's good. You need to release that like as an entirely separate video, just to collaborate.
Yeah, well, we've talked about that actually.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about your leg routine back. Is he concerned about any other body part?
If he wants to rack and stack it, he's saying that my back is probably my best body part. I'm kind of like, really? I mean, I'll take that, but generally, I always thought it was like my chest and shoulders, but nope, he's treating it like they suck.
It's
all right, fair enough.
Because you don't see it, right? It's like,
yeah, exactly.
You don't see it. I remember when I competed, my wife would take a picture of my back. I'd be like, oh, okay, not bad,
right? Yeah.
But is he concerned with anything else? Is he concerned with bringing up your arms, chest, shoulders, calves, anything else?
Funny that you mentioned that. Like I asked him when he sent me my new updated plan today. I was like, there's no arm day in here. And there hasn't been since it started. I was like, is that going to change? And he's kind of like, well, I do, usually it's like, chest and tris, delts and bis. But I'm only doing so many sets of it, and it's not that I'm nailing it in or anything. But, he's kind of like, arm days are generally earned. And he's like, and I really haven't seen too many people who have like a dedicated arm day where you can see a noticeable difference. And I was like, fair enough, man.
Right.
Once again, just hit the I believe button. Be like, you obviously know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You see the picture. You're going to be critiquing this anyway. So, okay, if no arm day, dedicated arm day, that's fine.
What's funny is that a good trainer is almost like an artist. Like they see the picture on the canvas before you can.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just have to trust the process, but you have to trust the artist.
Right. Yeah. I've a great trainer definitely knows, like, he can look at you and go, okay, this is, I want you to look like this. And this is the path we have to go down in order for you to look like that.
Right.
And then there is, listen, the problem is getting somebody good. There's so many gurus and shitheads, really. There's so many,
Take your pick on Instagram.
yeah, really.
Half of these idiots, I mean, they compete once and they think that they're qualified.
And then, the problem is, like,
no. All right.
If you're not, if you don't have knowledge of the sport and who is good and who's not, and so on and so forth, like guys like us, and you're a young guy, you just want to jump in and start training, you don't know. I mean, that happened to me. My first trainer didn't charge me a dime. I was a kid. I was like, I didn't know what the I was doing. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, I don't have any money. Free sounds good to me, but
free's amazing. Sure.
Yeah. But if you have the money, getting somebody really good, but somebody that's also going to be like somebody you're explaining, hands-on updates, see you in person, so on and so forth, because there's a lot of guys, like you said, on Instagram and whatnot. Just send me pictures once a week.
Yeah. Take your picture. Just like, or take your pick of anyone off of Instagram. We're going to head out to the Arnold at the end of February.
That's great. Yeah.
It's going to be, we can't wait. But when we were at the Olympia, and I'm sure the Arnold's going to be the same way, you're going to see all of the Instagram influencers out there.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
And and they're just trolling for clients. And I'm just like, hey, it's buyer beware.
Yeah.
Do your homework.
I like my part of bodybuilding. I like being the guy behind the microphone, giving his opinion, interviewing people, doing updates. I like that. I know I'm not a trainer because I don't have very much patience. It's like, I told you to do A, B, and C. I did. Well, if you did, you wouldn't look the way you did now.
Right. Yeah.
So I've been through that. And I was never a great bodybuilder. You know what I mean? I was decent. I was never huge. I was never 300 pounds. So I finally found my niche. And I'm certainly, they're a dime a dozen. The trainers, they're a fucking dime a dozen. But I'm glad you got yourself a good trainer. And I always say that
absolutely.
I wish I knew now what I knew back then as far as training. I would have spent the money. I would have spent it on the guys by me is probably like Thackeray or King Kamali or Oscar Arden. I would have spent the money and got somebody really good, instead of. One more question. So what do you think? So you're going to be at the Arnold. What do you think about the Arnold? What do you think is going to happen? You think we're going to have a surprise, or you think Chupin's going to
win? I'm always hoping for a surprise.
Me too.
We'll see.
I know.
Unfortunately, we didn't get the tickets for the evening show. We're going there primarily just for the expo.
That's what everybody goes for.
Yeah, which you'll be talking to her shortly here.
That's right.
So, but yeah, I will be. I'll be interested to see who takes the Open.
Yeah, I look. Logic says Hadi Chupin. I was having this discussion last night with Dorian Haywood, who is a pro bodybuilder, and he comes on my show.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it, and we're both rooting for Samson, but logic says Hadi Chupin because he did beat him in the Olympia. But Samson looks great.
Samson looks awesome.
Oh,
yeah. But I thought Hadi looked amazing at the Olympia too.
Yeah. No, he definitely.
Yeah. We were there for the evening show, and once Hadi came out, I was like, okay, that's it.
Yeah. No,
don't get me wrong. I love having
he's a God-fearing
American up there, but Hadi looked amazing.
He's a freak of nature. The guy has just he's flawless. It's just max truck density and his gritty, grainy hardness that he comes out to. It's just unbelievable. The amount of muscle he has in that frame is unreal.
Oh yeah, and he has a kick-ass beard.
Oh, okay. That's a Middle Eastern thing. They have a lot of hair. Russ, thank you very much for coming back on.
Absolutely, thank you.
We'll definitely schedule you again. It is February, so figure around April-ish.
Yeah,
I would say about 2 more progress videos before you get your ass up on that stage. 2 to 3.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, but it's half of it, the journey is just yeah, it's the enjoyment along the way, and I'm finally actually enjoying it. So yeah,
Good. I'm glad to hear that, brother. Very, very glad to
absolutely.
hear that.